Hello and welcome to another gameplay review on the Virkayu gameplay channel, and wow, Qiyana jungle, that's right. Now, I'll be honest with you, not my favorite champion to face, actually kind of annoying, not just kind of. The problem is, she's been taken out of it. Silas was taken out of it, Set jungle, Volleyball jungle struggling. So many cool champions that we used to have in the jungle have been removed. I might talk about this on the main channel, but Qiyana just received a whole multitude of buffs on this current patch. Runes on your screen now, Electrocute, Ravenous also getting nerfed next patch. Standard stuff, right? But there was a hotfix on the 3rd of March, increasing that movement speed scaling on the Q. You have AP ratios plus an increase in base damage on the W, and an increase in base damage on the ultimate. Now, on the face of it, you think, well, you know, bonus 60 damage at max rank ultimate. Yeah, it's not supreme, and rarely will you find yourself in level 16 situations. However, junglers don't have as much income as you would say in the mid lane, as Syndra vs Yone. This is risky. Now, what that means is when you increase the bonus damage, right, on your jungler like Qiyana, or on any jungler at all that might have limited income, that means that damage now is basically reliable. It's guaranteed no matter what, even if you're not super fed, even if you don't have certain itemization spikes. No, there you go. First blood to your mid laner, that's great. It guarantees you a certain level of damage and understanding that this will happen. Now, that also means, you know, champions with higher base damage and worse scaling are better in the early game. Qiyana kind of just feels like one of those snowball junglers. Champions in mid lane, you get a few items, doesn't matter really the KDA or the state of the game, and she can start to do what she needs to do. The question is, as a jungle Qiyana, how do we get through our first clear and try and impact the map as much or as frequently as your typical meta junglers? Now in this case, just take a quick assessment. We know the Lee Sin here started on the top side. He's going to sequence all the way down. The Qiyana is going for more of a 4 to 5 camp clear. The inner clear does work because of the jungle itemization shift. If you're going Talisman previously, you could do this also, although Machete's just so strong. The goal here, as you can see from the kiting, is most likely to get down to this bottom lane. Volatility supreme. Jinx with a Lulu versus Caitlyn and a Morgana. Caitlyn Morgana, rough lane to face. However, Jinx Lulu. Oh yeah. You want Jinx Lulu to snowball, you want to camp the lane, even if it means sacrificing a few things for yourself, because even in lower elos, a Jinx that has no brain will still do things, right? They get the reset to run fast. So while you're doing your blue buff, you should be looking here. You should be looking, and this is what I'm talking about. So you're clearing your buff. You know you're against the Lee Sin. Lee Sin's gonna maybe likely impact the game before you if he decides to do a 3 camp. From Qiyana's perspective, you have no idea that he's gonna do a 3 camp, alright? We do not know that. However, watching the bottom lane, we want to try and get here before level 3 spikes, although, yeah, it's very easy to do. So, Jinx gets hit in the max range binding that stuns her in all time. Then they just go for the straight 2v2, focusing on the Caitlyn, but unfortunately, the Jinx has to flash backwards. Lulu is able to kill the Caitlyn. Great. This gives the excited passive to Jinx, who's able to escape from that. Now, as Qiyana, and ideally, you know, you're looking at this, you just want to leave your buff and rotate. And that's where things like a 4 camp inner clear can be so difficult to sort of play around, because you need to take that 4th camp for level 3, and you cannot rotate efficiently. Now, the Lee Sin, from the Lee Sin's perspective, hello, he did a 3 camp, so he would be first to rotate to this in case the lane exploded, and also just to get on the map before the Qiyana, which is the advantage he holds over her. You just don't match that with a 4 camp clear, it's just the reality of it. So he comes in here and he saves the day, right? Qiyana really wants to rotate, I can tell you that, but needs to finish the blue buff for level 3. It's part of the kit, you kind of want that 100%. Lee Sin has now done 3 camps and is going to push this wave as well. This will give him distorted CS gains. Oh, cannon minion. So not only does he rotate for a kill, he also gets a cannon minion. This crab now, you do not have control over. So even though your mid lane solo killed, good stuff. Even though your bot lane is getting kills, good stuff. You just do not have the laner support currently to do this. And so many junglers will force this, say, Syndra, you got first blood, why did you rotate? And they weren't paying attention to the fact that the Syndra went back to base. Let me sit up properly here because my posture is getting bad. Seat check for all of you, and make sure you're drinking enough water. Now, because of that, you just fall back and simply do the Grom. Standard stuff, right? You have to give it up, no issues. Qiyana, however, thrives at snowballing. Jinx thrives at snowballing. So why don't we actually try to snowball some stuff? So Jinx goes back to base, and you can just simply hold this wave. Now, in terms of first clears, what this tells you immediately is that the Lee Sin did buff Gromp. He got bottom lane kill, he got the bottom side crab. You're pinging here as the Qiyana. Okay, he's going to be taking this as well. Highly expected. If he falls back this way through it, right, like this, that's fine as well. If the Yone was turbo pushing, he could simply run across it and take it. He could also simply gank the Syndra if she was over pushing here as well. So this is a bit of a, I don't know, boring choice, I suppose, but the Qiyana understands this and understands there's a whole bunch of wards. It also knows the bottom lane burnt their sum. So what we do is we wait. Waves pushing into us, absolutely excellent. We can wall hub here, wait for the W. There we go. Okay, it's warded. We have scanner because we're good high yellow jungler. Doesn't matter. Let's go. Okay, you can try and flash this for the stun. Black shield prevents it, and you burn the Caitlyn's flash as well. Fine. You take it. And you know this is warded as well. So what are your choices from this point of view? That ward died. It's very close to death. You could now reset. Perhaps look to these camps. Look to this. Look to this lane. Meganar versus Rock. And of course, the mid lane is looking pretty juicy as well. Although she should be able to handle herself, double the CS, and a solo kill. The lane we want to get fed, and the lane that you can snowball yourself with the most, is always bottom lane. So sometimes, it's really good to simply camp the hell out of a lane. Now you know you chunked the Caitlyn, super low, she's level 2. You know you've got a full wave here. Let's push it with our bottom lane. Don't tax. Don't tax. Don't take this CS for no reason. Simply annoy them. Get in their way. What's Lee Sin doing? As we said. Boring. Trying to protect his crab. Not the win condition is the crab. And honestly, as Qiyana, if you're not going to be able to have the prior to get that, you might as well look to try and do something on the bottom lane. The fact that it's warded doesn't really matter. And now you're cutting her off. Okay? This is level 1 because he didn't take it. So in the meantime, take this bit of counter jungling. Caitlyn. Level 2. And that's the huge thing. You've completely zoned her from being able to play the game. The lane, trust me, in bottom lane, if this happens, it's GG. You're juicing and infusing a Jinx with just constant shadow pressure. However, you don't have to end it there, right? We don't have to end it there as well. The Morgana cheekily decides to go back into the tower, thinking, oh, Qiyana's finally left. If they disrespect this timer, Roman back. I had a Rengar do this on EUS as well recently. Just literally did something like this, and I was the enemy bottom lane. I was in Morgana's place. You just have to sit back. You're just Dyrus. You're just like, all right. If I walk up, I'm dead. Help. Ambush, you know? And in this case, Morgana, you know, Black Shield, you have to be careful. I don't think you want to go for this. You gotta watch the wave. Okay, here we go. Good. It has to be done well. It has to be done correctly. And now, if you're feeling particularly cheeky, maybe you do it again. Yeah, you do it again. Now, I don't usually recommend this. But in low elo, this is such a great low to mid elo strategy as well, because trust me, they are so giga turbo tilted off the face of this planet from this play that they are raging at the Lee Sin. What are you doing? The Lee Sin, as we can see from the red team's perspective, he just did this. Thank you, ward from the Syndra. Took this, took your Krugs, which were level 1 anyway. And you got his Krugs level 1 also, so it's not like you lost much. Now, the downside is he can try and dive the Gnar. He can also go and take your tier 2 Raptors level 4, and then he can gank mid lane. So he has this pressure on 2 lanes plus your jungle. A lot of people will hang around bottom lane now and say, you know what, I can make this play from a bottom lane and get them fed and get myself fed, but I'm gonna lose my top side camps. And to my response to that is, so? Does that suck? Yeah. Were you gonna win by farming anyway? Never. So, if you can fill the 2-minute downtime, sorry to pause it again, if you can finish the 2-minute downtime between the Krugs spawning with action that gets you kills and experience, you're not wasting that time, so it doesn't really matter. This is what I call greedy. Okay? Doing it again is pushing it. I will honestly say that I think in this situation, going for this, I don't know, like 18th dive in the bottom lane isn't worth it from an overall game state, but it's great for you, because look at the gold lead. 2k. 2k. This is a shoved wave, so we're just going to try and take the cannon, but don't overstay for it. There you go. right? Instead of that second dive, you could have just floated back up here. Taking those. Back to base we go. Close to 6. And the Lee Sin has not actually... Okay, we were watching completely the Qiyana. Just so we can fill in the gaps here. The Lee Sin did go for this dive on our friendly neighborhood prehistoric Yordle, which we knew was going to happen. Did he try some sort of outplay? The flash slow. Careful, careful, careful. You need Mega. You're trying to get Mega as best you can. He gets it, but the execute, and he falls. So the 1-for-1 there is great, and during the course, you survive as the enemy jungler. So that's the best possible scenario. Not always going to happen, but you know what? You made a play, he made a play, you didn't die, he did. Shame. Out of base, straight to the top side. You know at this point, because he died on this, you might not have seen it happen and everything like that, but you know that he's dead just by looking at your scoreboard. He didn't take your Raptors. So that's a tier 2 Raptor camp you could take. However, as you can see, straight to the mid lane. Keep the activity, keep the pressure. You are Qiyana, we need to snowball. We need itemization, we need kills, we need experience leads, and we need to control the river and all the elements of the rift. Ionia boots for the stonks, straight to the mid lane. Okay. A little bit unfortunate there. The Yone kind of just... That's good disengaged by the Yone. The fact that you try is the most important thing. Sometimes ganks don't work. They're an investment. They don't always work, but when they do, the payout is... salvation? Salvation. Red is spawned now from this, so you've been around a long time, but this will give you 6. Bottom crab is spawning. We saw a hint of the Lee Sin as well. Bottom lane should be prepared. Do we care about top lane? What is the win condition? No, we do not care about the top lane. Lee Sin is on this. Syndra's going on an adventure. And I anticipate the Lee Sin will show up in a second. Hello. He went to the top side again, though. That's interesting. I would not have expected that. This is kind of negative pathing, but his experience gains are really stifled. Because he only took these 3, and the Raptor camp, and then this, and he didn't get the same amount of minion soak that the Qiyana did, he is actually down on experience, so that's the benefit. But you could think twice about this sort of pathing for experience, or versus sort of, while the Qiyana is topside, as you know, perhaps heading to the crab here and trying to get shutdowns, just making sure you kill the bottom lane again while their sums and flashes are still away. So the Lee Sin's pathing, not a huge fan of it, but the Qiyana is able to actually rotate here. Let's see what happens. Okay, Yone. Okay. And they ult. Oh, good grief. And now you understand why this champion is kind of a natural sometimes. But good binding. Keep the pressure here if you have laner support. Lee Sin. Was machst du? Okay. What are you doing? Why? And why are you doing it? Now, you might say, hold up, my junglers are perfect. I face the perfect jungler every day. Every game against me is Canyon. He would never make that error. That is nonsense. And here's nonsense too. Hey, I'm going to do the red buff. Leave the damn red buff. Look at them bottom lane. Super low. Let's go. Flash burned. Heal burned. Chuck out that Q. Did we die here? Nah, Lulu, thank you so much. Double kill. Was this complex jungling? No, I'm just going to camp a lane and use all the angles available to me. And when there's low targets, I'm going to go and take them. I don't care about the red buff. More plates to Jinx. 3 plates down already. Absolutely huge, good high pressure jungling. I love high pressure snowball jungling. I think it's absolutely fantastic. The Lee Sin is great at that. He just didn't match up well. He had a decent game, but he just defaulted after good early beginnings to sort of standard stuff. And if you don't get things back, the Qiyana's moves are really going to dominate. The most important thing here is that leave the red, get the double kills bottom lane. It's more useful. Way more useful. We lost her. Come back. All right, here we go. So now we've got Warhammer plus a serrated Dirk. We have bottom lane overstaying and then getting punished, as is the way. Syndra rotates. And this is what you guys are talking about to me, right? All the time. They say, yes, but my bottom lane overstayed. My bottom lane overstayed. They overstay in high elo as well, no matter what the server. You cannot help that. You cannot control that. It doesn't impact your decision making. You could hold mid here, but I think at the same time, I do like the fact that we just take our camps. I would look for a dragon, and you could look to do the cheese, 100%. I haven't seen this at all, so... No! Come on, Nova, what are you doing? Nice knockback, nice ult. Morgana shows up, doesn't matter. Yone could rotate here, but I don't think we're afraid of him. And I just wanted to skip back. He took the Herald, he used the Herald, he at least got himself some plates. But this is really not an equal sort of payback for what the Qiyana's doing to the map. And this is where the champion is so good. 2 levels up, especially having ultimate when they do. She's used her ultimate twice for the one time that Lee Sin has. It's a base CDR in that anyway. 85 seconds. I actually didn't know it was that low. That explains a lot. See, now he's going to rotate after going back to base, so you don't overstay. However... Oh, the stopwatch. He doesn't have kick, though. I think she could have maybe stayed. The Lulu had ult. So I don't think you had to disengage in this situation. But it's not complex. That's not complex either. That's a throw. Okay, so... Aha, 1. They want to go for it. Malphite even decided to join with a TP. Okay, so that was literal fiesta. Make sure when you are snowballing yourself in this fashion that you don't overstay, just like the bottom lane overstayed here. But the jungling here is really highly active. And the thing is, same CS, except 5-1-1. Lee Sin gets freebies. He looks like a better jungler than he is because of those throws. So, at this point, I think we need to look to make sure we get some nice ward again. We need to make sure we get the dragon. And the best way to do that is simply scanning on your approach and annihilating the enemy jungler. Can it be done? Concerned about Yone's existence. Malphite showing up here. He has ultimate as well. But he's shoved off. And if Yone's not here, I think we could look to dragon. I think in this situation, we should look to dragon. I know people don't always like to in these situations. They just want to go chase kills. But my brain is telling me, even though it's warded, we have the Jinx who just came back from base. Doesn't have a full item, but has a lead. You have a lead as Qiyana. I think we should look to do this. Because you got Meganar here. You've got Caitlyn on the top side. And the Herald is dead. So... there's no real reason not to sort of scan it and try it. Now you're defending your red side jungle instead of getting an objective, so I don't like that. I don't like this call. I think the camping and the cheese is one thing, but we're just leaving an objective while the Lee Sin got a Herald, which people don't value, and in this case he didn't use it very well, but, you know, mental. The mental of the game. Morale of your team. Okay, this is dead. This is dead here. Yeah, playing Jinx versus a Malphite. And you know, this is silly. Like, this is so unnecessary. We have such a big lead. And as a jungler, if you say, let's go do the dragon, it usually gives them purpose. And they enjoy having purpose given to them because they're laners. You know? So now I'm actually not sure in which direction she wants to go. Nothing on the red side. Lee Sin's not caught up on levels. The last 2-3 minutes I've not been a fan of. First couple I was. Platinum's gonna fall. Lee Sin's camping top lane. Flash is burned. Malphite has no ult. And now he should be... actually, I want to see this. Almost the same exact experience level as you. So I feel like that's a huge lead we had. Even if the gold lead still exists, it actually doesn't. Yeah, that's interesting. The shutdowns plus the plating golds isolated to the Lee Sin have infused him. You know, this guy does not deserve to have as much gold as you. So I feel like the throwdown here and the dragon miss have kind of corrupted all the goodness that we had. Umbral Glaive completed for the Caitlyn traps and the fact that it's cheap. We need to do a dragon, guys. You have to burn it. Lee Sin's not going to get there, so that's free. Good. Careful. The Morgana Black Shield and Q is really an issue here. Lee Sin's underneath you, so's Malphite. Yone, sorry, not Malphite. Caution in the wind. Okay. So, you've had a Supreme early game camping the hell out of a lane. You've had pretty solid rotations in getting your camps, invading, causing pressure. You've cheesed a few times. You've thrown twice. We've missed an objective, but we are still in control with a 6k gold lead. So not as, you know, doomed and gloomed as I said it was by missing the dragon. How do you close? Firstly, the thing you need is this baby, this Void Beetle. You need the Void Beetle, because you should technically be on your second dragon almost already. If you get the second dragon here, after you get this Void Beetle, you can use it for Prime Push and open up the remaining towers. You've got this one, you've got this one, and you've got this one. So everything's really set up, but you don't want to do that right now. Too many times what I see is, you see Lee Sin and so on, flexing, dancing, prancing, all on this side. You think, hey, we have 3. Let's go. And then they all collapse and go for it. And you know, you've got your Jinx over here, you've got your Syndra over here who's really, really far ahead. And you die. And then you give up things. And again, not good. But if they overpush and disrespect that, then yes, feel free. It's just don't go for those. Not recommended. Little over. Ah, there we go. Okay. I mean, I think we could have done that without the ultimate. I don't think we needed the ultimate. I guess it was in anticipation of the Caitlyn maybe flashing or trapping over the wall. Sorry, not trapping, netting over the wall. But now we have the Herald, and this is huge. See? Push, pressure, good. Use your Herald accordingly. And that's why you get the Jinx fed with a Lulu. I think we can Herald pressure here. There we go. Closing to finish. That's why I'm going a little slower with this. I just want to see what they do. I actually don't know what they do. Getting pushed here. Caitlyn exists, but you should be able to... Syndra trying to kill you with the red buff. It's basic rotations. You shouldn't have an issue, but you don't want to be out-rotated by the Malphite. This is just de-evolving into things that are not very educational or interesting. The rules are as follows. Use your Herald for a tower push. If you're not really primed to do it, then it's wasted, okay? This was a little bit wasted. If you're on a timer, it's fine. Make sure if they overpush in a lane and you know where everyone else is because of your deep vision control, you can easily collapse 3v1 and kill them. That's exactly what we want to do. Usually you want to do it on the side that there's an objective. If someone overpushes here and there's a Baron at 22, kill him, take the Baron, or at least bait it. If you have a dragon spawning very soon, there's a Yone dancing around here, kill him, take the dragon, get deep vision again with your numbers advantage. Alright? But we want to make sure we have and use our lead to get towers. The moment, they are stalling decently well. They're losing the jungle, but they're not really losing any more of the map. So what they can do is hold and wait until you tilt into them. That's why it's very important that we don't have by yourself over here deep vision, you know, you die and that's it. As Qiyana here, we need to wait for the Jinx. So this is perfect. Let's quickly take 2 camps. You might be able to do the Grump as well, yeah. Now we want to join our team, but this is the risk. The Lulu shouldn't be here. It's the right decision for Qiyana to go for that farm until Jinx joins and then rejoins them in the mid lane. They have no choice but to alpha 5v5 this. You've got a 1-3-1 setup here, but it's a Syndra stealing blue. So this is again risky. And sometimes you just have to give. Syndra can collapse. Gnar can collapse. Okay. So the 1-3-1 gives you the ability to flank. Alright? But it's only good if people do that. So the threatening of the flank means they have to back up. It's kind of stalled out though, but the macro is interesting. The give and take that you have. Let me put this on so we can see. And from red, yeah, you gotta watch the wall. As Zyra always ward over this wall against this stuff. Flash, Jinx, ult, kick, dead. Expected. Qiyana hits the ult on the rock, literally. Syndra hits the ult on the Lee Sin, so they couldn't take an objective. Yone comes. He's dead. The damage from the Qiyana negated his existence. That's good to know, because that champion is not okay. Just dragon this. Just dragon. Just dragon. Just dragon. There we go. Good. Take your blue if you don't need to give it away. Throat. Because we got a video coming out of the main channel. Okay, reset. And now basically you do it again. But this time you want to stop baiting Baron. The problem with a snowball that's super, super fast and heavy is that sometimes there's no objective for you to bait. You know, there's no Baron dance or dragon swaps that you can instigate. There's no flow that you can abuse because everyone's just waiting for stuff. So you kind of stall out that way. But here, we definitely want to start the Baron and cause a trap. If they come, we turn, and we just kill them. Because our lead is huge, because now we have the Dust Blade as well. Oh my goodness. Make the play. What's the rule of carrying for jungle and you get fed? Make the play. 11-1-2. That's it. That's it. How difficult was that? Irritating for 5-6 minutes from a macro point of view, but you're waiting for that trigger pull, that bad positioning, and then you make the play. Now that's a free Baron. 100%. And you should be able to end. So, not the cleanest last few minutes at all, but hopefully you see the power of snowballing by ganking and camping, and how strong it can be in terms of getting yourself a huge lead, getting your ADC a huge lead, and even when you make throws and they make throws, it still primes you to simply run it down and outstat them. I mean, you're an assassin with 2 completed items and Ionian boots. You burst them down, you know? And the Yone doesn't exist because the Syndra did a good job in her lane. Look at this, great peel. He ults over the wall, and everyone just suction kills him. Now you get resets and you can shove it down. So, it looks like they just take mid, they reset, they take another one. I'll just let it play, but hopefully you can see those basic stat buffs. You know, the 5 points in Q, you get that movement speed boost. Base damage and the ult at level 16 will help you in the later game if you get to it. Even if things haven't been going so well, so... that's unfortunate, but it doesn't matter. There you go. Qiyana jungle, maybe back in the fold. I'm sure we'll see Selfmade playing it. He loves that champion. Keep an eye on the solo queue and the win rates, but still a very high skill cap champion. We didn't talk much about the kit and things like that because it's not really necessarily the point of these gameplays, but definitely nice to see something like this back in the jungle. An AD assassin to match up with that Blue Kayn and Kha'Zix and whatnot. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you're able to enjoy and learn something. Please do subscribe to this channel and the main channel. Coaching link is in the description. And remember, the snowball lane is bottom lane. And get those dragons. As always, I will see you all in the next tutorial.